Hey guys, this is Klingman speaking here, and welcome to the first time ever for the Hollow Wheel. The Hollow Wheel is to spin some of these 8 options when you included for this. But if you see at the first spin, before you do the reaction video starts, but after the end of the reaction video, before the second spin, you might gonna reveal it. So, without further ado, let's take what the spin number 1 for the Hollow Wheel before the reaction video starts. So, without further ado, let's go! Our first spin goes to Quiz Time. Here's the first quiz for the Halloweentoono 3. Are you a vampire or a mermaid? It's sink or swim. Do you like the ocean or the forest? I guess you said the forest. You like to swim? Well, yeah, it's still got to swim. Next. Yes, I like to eat. Pizza, I guess. I don't know. Okay, last question. Do you like horror movies? No, I don't think so. But the answer is on the question goes to the vampire. You're not scared of anything, and you're very fast. You have an amazing eyesight, and you like it when things go your way.
It's Raquel's turn to shine.
It's random productions for Halloween.
Creepy zombies went out to trick or treat. Everybody danced to the spooky beat. They had such enormous fun. They called for another creepy zombie to come. La 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 la. La 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 la. Hey all you vampire fans! Today is the 30th anniversary of Cartoon Network.
And also, the 5 years of Vampirina. That's just me. And today is 31 nights of Halloween. But this month, we're gonna do some 31 videos for some spooktacular fun. So which means Halloweentoono 3 is here. But you're gonna be a spookified because today's video is the 10 great vampire games that don't suck. Blah! And even though Erwin from Billy and Mandy gotta love this. But as I'm saying, so let's get things started with 10 great vampire games that don't suck. So let's begin!
Ever since Dracula was published in 1897, vampires have been a mainstay of popular culture.
Oh.
Whether they're terrifying creatures of the night that prey on women, or
That's
sparkly
one bump in the
bodies
night!
well, also prey on women, just
Still
in
got
an
Twilight.
equally creepy kind of
Yes.
way. It seems like the world just can't get enough of these pointy-toothed bloodsuckers. With vampires being such a popular monster, it's unsurprising
Monsters?
that the games industry
Games?
has featured them as their villains
Monster
and
video
protagonists
games!
of choice.
Like vampires,
time and time
guys!
again. As is often the case, though, they're not all winners. But fear not, because we here at Team Triple Jump are on hand to sort the Nosferatus from the Twilights. For this list, we're taking a look back through gaming history and shining a spotlight on some of the best titles that feature the garlic.
But there's no Kingdom Hearts characters? Oh
The only
boy.
condition for inclusion on this list is that vampires are the main focus of the title. So
Well,
games
you
like
still got
Resident Evil
focused on
Village,
that
where vampires are sort of present but not integral
Well,
to
seriously.
the game, aren't welcome here. With all of that nice and clear, I'm
Well, I
Peter
love
from
the
Triple Jump,
vampire.
and here are
And
10
even my
great
mommy and daddy
vampire
gonna
games
love that vampires.
don't suck.
Blah!
You get it? Did you get it? Yeah, don't. Okay, let's go to number 10. Number 10,
A vampire story!
So, historically, vampires have generally taken on the role of the bad guy in whichever piece of media they're featured. In recent years, a number of different stories have painted them as sympathetic characters. One such tale is 2008's A Vampire Story, the point-and-click adventure developed by Autumn Moon Entertainment. The game follows Mona,
that game is so
no, not that one,
nostalgic.
a young woman who becomes the victim of a local vampire. She's got big dreams of being an opera singer, though.
How
She's not gonna
very
let a little
romantic
thing
of
like
that.
being undead get
Am
in
I
the
gone
way.
bad now?
Players must help Mona and her sidekick Froderick. Our writer
Froderick.
assures me that that's not a typo, to return home so that the former can find the fame and normality she so desperately desires.
Scared!
Their story was developed by a number of former LucasArts employees and bears a lot of similarities to games like The Curse of Monkey Island and The Dig in terms of its gameplay and style. Sadly, although A Vampire Story was received well by critics, earning
Well,
itself a
that's
respectable
not bad.
75 out of
That's
100
not
on
bad.
Metacritic, it was a commercial
Definitely
failure.
not bad.
A sequel has allegedly been in development since 2010, but we're not holding our breath for its release anytime soon, or, ever.
Ooh.
Number 9.
Vampire!
When you're a vampire, as some of us are here at Team Triple Jump, it probably goes without saying that you should avoid, where possible, all situations where you might come into contact with
Blood!
human blood, lest ye end
Bleh.
up murdering innocent civilians. James, what have we said about attacking the postman? One immortal who clearly didn't get that particular memo, though, is Jonathan E. Reed, protagonist of the 2018
Jonathan E.
RPG
Reed.
Vampire. After awakening in a mass grave as an immortal,
But it's
Jonathan
gone
goes
blood
back to
now.
being a doctor, a move which sees his resolve to uphold the Hippocratic Oath tested immensely, let's say. Not only does he have his own internal struggle to contend with, but he must also get to the bottom of the vampire epidemic that's sweeping London before everyone in the city turns
Am I
undead
gone
or gets
silly
their
now?
necks chomped. If you're not on board with the idea of killing people to satiate Jonathan's
Well,
bloodlust, then it's wholly
that's
possible
one
to play
wicked
through the
monster
game without
story that
murdering
tells.
innocents, though it does come at the cost of some of Jonathan's upgrades. Vampire is
Okay.
incredibly stylish, and though it does have the odd
I guess you
physical
stay
and
out of me.
mechanical here and there, it sucks players into an atmospheric semi-open world. That's the second sub-joke of this. And captivates them, like a vampire, with a compelling tale of fantasy and morality. Number Hunter the Reckoning. The world can be a very scary place, what with all of the war, disease, and the ever-looming threat of Uwe Boll making more movies. As terrifying as all of those things are, though, at least we don't have to contend with vampires and werewolves on top of it all, which is more than can be said for the residents of the World of Darkness universe.
It's the World of Darkness.
This tabletop franchise has spawned a plethora
Am
of
I
video
gonna
games
chill
over
in
the
it?
years, and among them is the 2002 hack-and-slash title, Hunter the Reckoning. The game is set in the fictional town of Ashcroft, a prison town with a dark secret. Vampires. The secret is vampires. Surprise!
Still got the dark side.
Fiends have taken over the penitentiary and turned it into a feeding ground, draining the life from the inmates who, once deceased, rise again as vengeful wraiths. Using a variety of weapons as well as wielding magic, players take on the role of hunters, whose job it is to rid the world of the supernatural beings that terrorize it. Though Hunter the Reckoning
terror!
it can be a little lonely and repetitive.
Run away, you're
But
not
a few
monster,
friends,
then
and you're sure to have a whole load
The
of monster
horror!
fun in no time.
Nobody means
Number
no
7, Dark Watch. You know what's great? Vampires. You know what else is great?
Ugh.
Cowboys. But what do you do if you want both?
Vampire
One
and
easy to
cowboy?
digest package. Watch Interview with the Vampire whilst wearing spurs. Don't be ridiculous. No, you play Dark Watch, of course.
Dark Watch?
Released in 2005, Dark Watch, or Dark Watch Curse of the West, if you want to get subtitly about
Well,
this,
it's like a
tells the
spooky
story of
Wild
Jericho.
West.
No, not that one. Who's been having a pretty bad time of it ever since he accidentally released a powerful vampire lord. Don't worry, mate, it happens to the best of us. In penance for his teensy snafu, Jericho has been drafted by Dark Watch, an organization that hunts down supernatural beings.
You're going
It's up to
down,
Jericho to take care
vampire.
of the vampire problem and rid the Old West of the...
But you're gonna need a good old Wild
Did we
West.
mention that whilst unleashing a horrific bloodsucker upon the world, Jericho went and got himself bitten as well.
That's
So he's going to
monster-rific.
do all of this whilst
Am I going bad
transformed
now?
into a vampire himself.
Ugh, blood!
The gameplay of Dark Watch
Ew.
is very much your garden variety FPS, but the story, steampunk aesthetic, and cast of interesting characters make it a must-play for anyone that likes their Wild West with...
Well, it's gone bad.
Number 6, Boktai, The Sun is in Your Hand. If we asked you to think of a Hideo Kojima game, you'd probably say something like Metal Gear Solid, right? It's certainly likely that your mind wouldn't go straight to the Boktai series, but although the games may not be Kojima's best-known work, they're still up there with the greats
Boktai.
in terms of their quality. The first game in the series, Boktai, The Sun is in Your Hand, sees players taking on the
Copyright
role
in
of
2003.
Django, the D is silent, a vampire hunter armed with a weapon that has the ability to fire bolts
Get
of
ready
sunlight
for a
at
secret
his enemies.
hand.
Pretty handy when your foes are, averse to using rays. The game takes place in San Miguel, a city that has become overrun by immortals. With their hero slain, the only hope for the city is Django,
There's only
who
hope.
seeks to prevent the end of the
It's
world
gone
and
now.
also avenge the death of his father. Perhaps the most notable thing about Boktai, The Sun is in Your Hand, is the game cartridge was equipped with a light sensor which charged Django's solar weapons. This meant that players had to go outside and expose their Game Boy Advance to sunlight or risk
That's
suffering from a
one
serious
looking
lack of
monster
firepower.
game.
Classic Kojima at it again with the crazy gameplay.
Well, it's gone crazy now.
5,
The Witcher 3, Wild Hunt, Blood and Wine.
Oh look everyone, it's a Wild Hunt wild card! Double the wildness, how fun! Now I know we said in the intro
The wild card!
the main focus of a game, or they're not welcome.
Well, still good focus!
But in my defense, the Blood and Wine DLC for The Witcher 3 is more or less the length of a full game, and it does focus
Well, you have a
squarely
giveaway.
on these sharp-toothed beasties, so we think it warrants being included in this list. The DLC is set after the base game and sees blonde bombshell Geralt sent on a quest by Duchess Anna Henrietta
Oh!
of Tucson, who is absolutely beside herself as 2 of the Knights of Tucson have been murdered by a mysterious beast. There are no prizes for guessing that said
Wow, that
mysterious
gives you a
beast is
horror
vampire.
look at that.
And it's all on Geralt to neutralize it before things get any worse. Like The Witcher 3, Blood and Wine received universal critical acclaim. Several outlets were pleasantly surprised by just how much content there was in the DLC, with some even saying that Geralt's vampire hunting exploits felt like a full game. Blood and Wine is a triumph of an expansion,
Clap, clap, clap.
and assuming the upcoming Witcher title from CD Projekt doesn't focus again on the ashen
Wait,
haired
what's
hero,
that? June
it was a
2nd,
fitting
2022?
farewell to Geralt of Rivia.
I think probably this year? Blood Rain!
If you like games like those in the Wolfenstein series, but feel they could be improved upon by switching out their macho protagonist for a sexy half-vampire, then you should try your hand
Oh.
at Blood Rain.
Blood
The game's
Rain.
hero is the eponymous Rain, a badass Dompier agent working for the Brimstone Society, an organization set on preventing the
Yep.
Nazi group Gegengeistgruppe from using occult artifacts to bring Hitler to power. Not only is Rain proficient with a number of weapons, including a pair of wrist blades and various different firearms,
Well,
but
it's
she also
gone
has
one!
supernatural abilities granted by her
But seriously,
lineage. She's able
you
to
want
move
that!
with incredible speed, has inhuman agility and vision, and can slow time in order to get the upper hand on her adversaries. Blood Rain does have one or two shortcomings, particularly with its camera and some of its level design. but
Still
it is a
got the
fun
camera
title that
look.
gives players heaps of squishy enemies to hack and slash their way through with reckless abandon. As long as you go into Blood Rain knowing what to expect, i.e. a game that's a cross between Blade and The Matrix and never takes itself too seriously, then you're going to be in for one hell of a good time. Number 3.
Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver.
We should probably preface this entry by saying that the first game in the Legacy of Kain series is pretty darn good, and it's definitely worth a play if you want to fully immerse yourself in all of the lore. Its sequel, however,
Still
is
got
the
the
best
retro.
game the franchise has to offer, and it's for that reason that it earns itself a spot on this list over its predecessor. Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver.
Wait,
steps
are you
some
gonna be a
200
Soul Eater or
years after
something?
The events of Blood Omen, and sees
Sometime?
Nosgoth doomed to eternal decay following Kain's refusal to sacrifice himself in order to restore the land. He embraces his dark nature, raises a vampire army, and proceeds to rule over the destiny.
Well, proceed.
The events of Soul Reaver
Gone
are set
bad.
in motion when Kain casts his lieutenant Raziel into the Lake of the Dead. Rather than being
Long live the
killed,
dead!
Raziel is resurrected by the
What?
Elder God and tasked with dispatching Kain so that Nosgoth may be restored. The game received huge amounts of praise from both critics and fans
So
upon its release,
horrifying.
who were impressed by its gothic atmosphere, graphics, and challenging puzzles. If a dark, hardcore action-adventure is what you're after, you really can't go wrong with Soul
Well,
Reaver.
it's gone.
Number 2, The Masquerade Bloodlines. Do you remember earlier in this list when I said the World of Darkness franchise has spawned a plethora of video games over the years? Well, here's another, and it's
But who
even
is
better
this?
than Hunter the Reckoning. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines begins rather unusually with the player
The
character's
world
death.
of
Not to worry
Numbquest.
though, because they're immediately resurrected as a bloodthirsty vampire.
Oh!
Marvelous. From there, players must explore 21st century Los Angeles to find
Los
a
Angeles?
discovered relic that heralds the end.
Did they not say Pennsylvania?
Players must align
Or
themselves
not.
with one of 7 factions, each of which has their own unique powers and abilities, and can build their character to suit how they prefer to play, as there are multiple ways to advance through the game. Upon its release, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines...
Well, still got the
suffered
avatar
from a few
looks.
technical
That
problems,
probably looked
but in
like
the
The
years
Sims,
since,
I guess.
its fans have supported
The Sim.
it by creating unofficial fixes and adding content.
That's like
Behind
supernatural
these bugs
stuff.
and glitches is a well-written and immersive RPG that several outlets have called a flawed masterpiece. Though it's been almost 2 decades since Bloodlines was released, a sequel is in development, though at the time of writing, a release date hasn't been confirmed.
No, still not talk about that.
One to watch out for then. And number 1,
Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
We feel it would have been remiss of us to place any game in the number 1 spot besides Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
Yep,
After all, the
still got the gold
1997
medal on that
side-scrolling
prize.
adventure is not only a brilliant title starring none other than Dracula himself, but it's also considered by many to be one of the
Castlevania's
best games
Dracula.
of all time, full stop.
There's no need to time.
4 years after Rondo of Blood, by which point Richter Belmont has mysteriously vanished and Dracula's castle has rematerialized. Not one to take such a thing lying down.
Well, I guess the vampire live in a castle.
Alucard,
Sheesh. I wonder where their location should be at.
to explore the castle
Well,
and hunt down
it's
his
gone
dear papa.
forever.
Not only was Castlevania Symphony of the Night lauded by critics upon its release, but it's gone on to inspire numerous imitators in the years since, even if arguably none has ever quite been able to live up to its grandeur. The graphics may look a little dated now, but the twist-filled plot, exciting combat, and overall atmosphere of the game more than make up for them.
Well, that's all for 31 Nights of Halloween. The Halloweentoono 3. It's all about the vampires. Well, you should come back tomorrow for another Halloween video. Bye, guys. On to another wheel of the Halloween. Here's the last spin for October 1st. And what was doing that? The Cartoon Network or the vampire-themed one? So, spin number 2, here I come. Because vampires are monsters or even dragons? So let's find out. Our second spin, last spin, goes to game time! Well, but today's game is a vampire princess.
Alright, thanks for watching.